In this video, I'll cover how to set the port and host attributes, or parameters, should I say, for a Node.js application running on Cloud9. Cloud9 is one of my favorite cloud-based IDEs because it gives me a whole integrated environment to do all types of development in multiple languages. And so one of the things I was doing was going through this Mastering Chrome Developer Tools course here on Front End Masters, and just brushing up on some of my developer tools skills. Uh, just trying to make sure that it's surprising how much is in here when you don't sit down for 5 hours to go through it. And using it every day doesn't necessarily help. So it helps, but it doesn't help to learn new things all the time. So it's cool. So what it goes with this course is a little website he has. It's a Node.js powered or website that that I was trying to get to run on my Cloud9 workspace. So the first thing I'm going to do is create a workspace. I'm going to leave it as private, and first thing I do after that is to not set it for a team workspace. I do have people that I mentor from time to time, and I like to set up team workspaces for them. So I'm going to put the workspace name here. I'm going to scroll down to that to get the description. And you can put pretty much anything in here, but they're very finicky about the workspace name. So I think it only can have hyphens. I'm not sure about underscores, and all lowercase letters, no spaces. And to get the repository, I'm going to just clone this HTTPS endpoint, paste that in there, and I'm going to select as my template Node.js because that way I know for sure I'll have npm and other Node-related command line things in there that I like to use. So I'm going to go ahead and create my workspace. And so my workspace will begin loading, and I think these Docker containers on here. They're recently acquired by Amazon too, so I have a feeling that this service is going to get even better. So in the meantime, I was looking around and I said, well, the issue I faced was that I couldn't get the website to run off of this. And I figured it had something to do with the host and the port because it showed me this localhost thing. And I was like, well, I'm not running localhost in a cloud browser or whatever. I'm not doing that. So what I found I needed to do was to edit the listen function of the server class in Node.js. And to do that, I saw that there were a couple of parameters that this is taking. It says 3000 is the first parameter, and this other function is the second parameter. If you mouse over this, fortunately, Cloud9 is smart enough to let you know that the parameters for listen are port and host name, backlog, and the callback. So port being the port number, and it's highlighted right now because I clicked on that. If I go click on the second parameter, it tells me host name is what goes here, and it's a string. So this is a number, the port's a number, and this is a string. Whatever I put in here is a string. Even though it's a function, it still evaluates to a string. So, and what can I say? So from there, I said, well, let me just try to follow their directions and do an npm install first, which will pull down all the package dependencies that are in here. And it looks like it did that because this new node modules folder showed up right there. There's all those packages, compression, express, and pug. So I kind of glanced through this and I see, okay, yeah, there's compression, there's express and all its dependencies, and there's pug and its dependencies. So now I'm down here. I'm going to go ahead and click clear and double click to keep that server.js file open now. Sometimes I like to rearrange my workspace. So maybe I'll just put this over on the right like this. I don't really need this down here right now. I can click and close the workspace like that. And I'm going to go down and edit. You do clear again. It just pretty much not necessarily clearing it, but putting it at the top. I'm going to go ahead and make sure that I can see what's going on here. And need to change that port and that host. Not sure what to do that. I'm going to at least act like I don't know, and show you how Cloud9 tells you what to do. So the next step in the process would be to do a node server.js. That's basically run this file. And so I want to make sure I'm in the right directory. So over here on the right, I'm going to do a pwd, and that tells me my current directory. So I'm in the workspace, which is this, but it looks like mastering Chrome DevTools isn't showing on here, but I know from experience that if I do a list, you'll see that I do have all those same files that are in here over in that inside that workspace folder. So essentially we're inside the mastering Chrome DevTools folder. And server.js is one of those files. So I should be able to do a node server.js to get it running. Node server.js. And normally this would work fine, but since I'm in a cloud hosted environment, localhost isn't mapped back to anything on my machine. So this, if I try to open it up, it's not doing anything. I don't have anything running on port 3000 locally. Plus I'm trying to run these files that are remote. So that's not doing the job. So what I'm going to issue is a Control Z to kill that node command, because I don't like jobs running in the background, even though I can open a new tab and do another one. I like to do jobs-L to list the job, and I see that job is there. It's the first job, and it's stopped. So the best thing to do for me is to clean my stuff up and kill job number 1, which basically just gets rid of it. And if I do a jobs L again, there's apparently no job that I can see running that are going to get in the way, especially of Node. So now I say, well, I need to figure out what port and host this thing will take. So I click over here, and that's one thing you want to keep in mind too, is like where you click and click run is basically the file that Cloud9 will run unless you set up a different run configuration. So if I click run here, it's going to pull this up, and now it's saying it's running at this address, but it says important, use process.environment.port as the port and process.environment.ip as the host in your scripts. And I'm looking at the script, I don't see that. So these are environment variables that they dynamically replace with the actual port and IP address when the application is executed. Same thing's happening here as before. So if I click here and I click open, which opens a new tab, it's just going to tell me that there's no application running here. Didn't give me a blank thing, but it did tell me to give me some tips here about checking the workspace name, IP address, other stuff like that. So what needs to happen is we need to replace this first port parameter with that environment variable setup, and the IP, use it as the host. So the second parameter for the node server.listen function is the host. Okay. And that should work. So I'm going to go ahead and save that. And tells me all changes are saved. And now I'm going to try to run it, but it looks like this is already running. So I'm going to stop it. And I will run this one again. I'll go ahead and run that. And now I'm not seeing that message I saw before, which was example app listening on port, localhost, whatever, which was what was in here before I replace it. If I do an undo, you'll see that that's the message that they had printing out. And that's what that is right here. Just a console log of that message. So I'm going to go ahead and put those back. I didn't change the file, so it went back to an X. And click on this address again. And wonderfully, there it is. There's the website for the workshop. And it works. It's basically running an express.js Node website, our Node powered website. And that's basically what you need to do is use those environment variables to make it work correctly in Cloud9 when you're, especially if you're using an external library. Thank you, and I hope that benefits somebody. Take care.